Well, Tampa adding a future Hall of Famer to the roster yesterday with the Bucs signing Julio Jones to a one-year deal to team up with Tom Brady. For Jones, he's just returning back to the NFC South. Jones, a receiver, of course, in that unit. When you look at it with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Russell Gage, who was added this offseason. A free agent for the first time in his career, caught a career-low 31 passes for 434 and a touchdown last season with the Titans. But before that, you can argue he was the most accomplished receiver the last decade while in the ATL. Made 7 Pro Bowls in 12 years of action and earned 2 first-time All-Pro selections. Has the most receiving yards in the NFL since 2011, has led the league in receiving 2 times in his career, 2015 and 2018. The Bucs hoping he still has something left in the tank. Well, the camping tour still on the road. Our Pete Prisco and Rick Spielman checking in here with the Bucs. And guys, let's start with this. There with the newest addition, this receiver group already deep in Tampa. But now you add Julio, who's 33 years old, has battled injuries the past couple of years. What can he bring to the table here in that receiving group?
Well, I tell you what, this is a strange signing for me. And I love Julio Jones. He's been one of my best guys to deal with over the course of his career. But how much does he have left? He hasn't been on the field. When he was in Atlanta the previous couple of years, he didn't practice that much because of injuries. And so this is a strange move. And we talked about it last night, Rick. This might be Tom Brady making a move. You know, hey, look, I'm not so sure about some of the younger guys on this roster. Go get me a veteran. We'll see what he can do. And, again, he has to stay on the field. At his best, he was one of the best receivers, if not the best receiver in the National Football League. But can he get to that, close to that level again?
Yeah, I agree. He's going to be a future Hall of Famer, but he's 33 years old. The last time he had over 100 catches and 1,000 yards was 2018. Didn't play in 19. In 20, his last year in Atlanta, his production dipped, and then it even dipped worse last year. And he's only played 9 games in 20 and 10 games in 21 and 10 games last year. So can he stay healthy, number one, and can he still be able to perform at the level that you were just talking about?
See, receivers are opposite of us. We get better with age. They slow down. We keep going.
We'll see those numbers maybe taking an uptick there. Catching passes, as you mentioned there, Pete, from Brady this fall. TB12 will turn 45 next Wednesday, to be exact there. We know he retired. Now he's back in the fold for another season. Is this the last ride for him, or could we see this kind of keep going down the road a little bit?
Well, he hinted at a possibility of playing again. I don't buy it. I think this is the end for him, and I think the moves they made, getting Julio Jones, going out and getting a guy like Akeem Hicks, that shows that they're all in. They're going to go try Kyle Rudolph, another one. They're going to go try and make the one run, and hopefully he, in his ideal scenario, he wins the Super Bowl and goes out on top and then goes into the TV booth. Oh, by the way, he's going to make a lot of money. So I think this is the last year for Tom Brady. I know the hints are out there that maybe he'll play on. Could he play on? Absolutely he could play on. The guy's an amazing physical specimen. He's still playing at a high level. Had a great season last year, but I think this is the last year.
Yeah, and if you look at their roster moves, and I had a list that I did last night, and it took me 2 pages to figure out who they were bringing in, and you can tell by the type of roster moves that they made, it's all veterans replacing veterans. So you know they're trying to load up this roster for Tom Brady's potentially last year, and then he can go into the booth and make Pete Prisco money.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, Pete Prisco. But I like to hear that. I like to hear that. We didn't know about that piggy bank there. For another season there in Tampa, though, Byron Leftwich will be in his ear calling the offensive plays once again. Look, he's settled into his role there as the OC. But what type of impact do you expect from him with Brady there in the offense in year 3?
Well, I think it took them a while to kind of get acclimated to each other, and I think it's a great relationship now. And I've known Byron a long time. I think Byron is one of the bright offensive minds in this league. But now it's all on him. You know, Bruce Arians was around. There was input into the offense. Bruce Arians was an offensive guy. Well, Todd Bowles is a defensive guy. So now this is all Byron Leftwich's show along with Tom Brady. I mean, they have a good relationship. They work well together. But this is a proving year for Byron Leftwich. A lot of people will look at him and say, hey, he almost became a head coach last year. He has a great year this year. I think he becomes a head coach next year.
Yeah, and when they hired Todd Bowles, and he is definitely a defensive coordinator, but he's going to be the head coach. And when you listen to Todd talk in some of the press conferences after he was hired, it was talking about, hey, I'm going to still run the defense. I have to be the head coach. I have to make all the game management decisions, whether I'm going for it on 3rd down, whether we're punting on 4th down, so on and so forth. But when he talked about the offense, he said it's going to be a Brian Leftwich and Tom Brady show.
Well, you mentioned Todd Bowles there. This will be a second shot at the HG job there. We know how it played out in New York with the Jets, but this time around, a better team in Tampa. How will this go around be different, though, than the time before?
Yeah, I can talk about that a little bit. I actually, when I was with the Minnesota Vikings, we interviewed Todd Bowles. And don't take the personality that you see on the camera or when he's talking to people mistaken for the intensity that he has on the field when he coaches. And my brother, Chris Spielman, when he was in a broadcast booth, went out and watched some of the practices at the Jets facility, and he said that was one of the most well-run practices that he's seen in the NFL as he was covering all these teams. Difference in this is a different type of head coaching hire. Todd Bowles is coming in. He doesn't have to change anything. He's been here for 2 years. He knows the front office. He knows the ownership group. He knows the offense. He knows the coaching staff. He knows the defense. So he's walking in and just keeping the ship moving forward. So there's a lot of continuity here. And Todd, the one thing that really stuck out to me when I listened to some of his interviews is that he owned up and he took responsibility for some of the mistakes that he made with the New York Jets as their head coach. And I think with that experience and him getting a second shot, he's going to really thrive as a head coach in this league.
You know, it's interesting, and I've had conversations with a lot of guys who had second chances or think they're going to get a second chance, and I say to them, be who you are. A lot of times guys become head coaches and they try to become something they think they should be. Todd Bowles is one of those guys. He's a New Jersey guy. He's got the edge. He played in the league. He's been, like you said, he's got he's quiet. But no, there's a real passion and a fierceness to him, and I think that will come out. He will be a much better coach the second time around. Obviously, he's got a better football team, but I think you learn from your experiences, and Todd Bowles steps into a great situation. Bruce Arians set him up pretty well.
So what you're telling me is that not to be Pete Prisco, just be Rick Spielman when we're doing this.
No, I'm fierce. I'm tough. I'm nasty. I'm violent.
Pete, you also got the little money sign now. That's a new thing that we have to keep doing nowadays, right?
There we go. Come on, I did that for you, Brandon. You love that.
Pete Prisco, Rick Spielman, appreciated the fellas there hanging with the Bucs. They've been on a roll. They were Jacksonville earlier in the week, and now they were the Buccaneers. But when it comes to HQ and the camp tours, also hanging out with the Raiders today. Tomorrow, Dolphins and Cardinals. Be interesting to see how that Kyler Murray situation after that big payday came up. Then Friday, the Niners and Browns. And all this weekend with my boys hanging out with the Cowboys.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.